So with the new update being released about almost a week ago, this means that Dante was also released, which also means there's a new build. So pretty much Dante is one of those Warframes where he doesn't fit into many people's playstyles, but what if I tell you that there is a way to play him in a way that you would want to play him? And this is what we have to work with. For our abilities, I will not be going much into detail about them, yet I'll still be explaining them a good bit. So first off, we're gonna end up helmething Roar into our first slot, which was Noctua. Why, you may ask, is because we're really not using Noctua to deal damage. We're mostly using Final Verse to deal our damage. So Light Verse obviously is the one that gives you Overguard and increase your health over time. As you use Light Verse back to back, you will end up getting more with Final Verse. Dark Verse, on the other hand, is the slash damage that we'll be dealing. This is obviously not our main source of damage until you go ahead and Dark Verse twice into Final Verse. As for the Dante build, we are going to be using Growing Power for that increased 25% of ability strength. We're also using Power Drift for more ability strength. We're also going to use Blind Rage, Umbra Intensify, and Transcend Fortitude. You could replace Umbra Intensified with Precision Intensify if I could find it. I think I can't find it. With Precision Intensify, it helps increase your final verse, but I just find it that Umbra Intensify is just better for this build. So we're gonna end up using Archon Stretch, Ogre Reach, and Overextended for the range, as this is basically a nuke build. Equilibrium for that health and energy conversion, so that you will never run out of energy, yet alone you won't even die. As for augments, I'm using mode efficiency since we are losing a lot of duration from Transcend Fortitude, and then of course we are using molted augmented for that increase of strength for Roar. Some of you may question why we helmet Dante's exalted weapon Noctua. Well, if you did do the Whisper in the Walls quest, then you would basically get something identical to it, which is the Grimoire. The build is very simple to what I have done in the past. So basically, in the past, I have done these two Augur mods just because I did run Respite on a lot of builds. So basically, we're going to be replacing Ogre Secret and Ogre Pact for Barrel Diffusion and Chemic Agility for multi-shot and for fire rate. We are going to be using Prime Flammation for that blast. We're going to be using Cold and Toxic and Radiation for this build. So we're going to have a Viral and a Radiation build. We're using Lethal Torrent, Chemic Agility, like I said, for fire rate. And then these are the two tomes that we'll be running since we are using these for only energy. As for our companion, since we are running Archon Stretch, we need a source of electricity, meaning that there's only one companion that deals electricity, which is Diriga. As for our mods on Diriga, we are going to be mainly using Arc Coil for that zap for electricity so that we can use that for our Archon Stretch. Manifold Bond to help reduce our cooldown for our companion's ability. Momentous Bond, again, to reduce our companion's recovery time. And then Duplex Bond to have a chance of dropping that energy orb. And also Sith Deconstruct for that 25% chance for an enemy which is injured by Diriga to drop a health orb, which is why we use Equilibrium. Everything else from Guardian to Animal Instinct to Vacuum, Prime Region, and Assault Mode, use whatever you want, but mainly we're using Arc Coil, these three bonds, and Sith Deconstruct. As for our shards and our focus tree, we'll be using 3 red shards and 2 yellow shards. The 2 yellow shards will obviously have casting speed, and the 3 red shards will have ability strength. As for our focus tree, we'll be using obviously the best focus tree in my opinion, Materai, to help give us that extra casting speed and that extra 40% strength with Sling. And let's say that if you do not want to helmet Noctua for Roar, this is my Noctua build. As of for right now, we're using Hornet Strike, Galvanized Diffusion, and Galvanized Shot, Chemic Agility, Lethal Torrent, Accelerated Isotope, Pistol Pestilence, and Frostbite. Ideally, some people would like to go with the Armor Strip type build, so we're basically going to go ahead and get rid of galvanized, accelerated isotope, frostbite, and we're gonna go ahead and slap in target cracker. Slap in the armor strip tome. I do not remember what the armor strip tome is, but hopefully y'all would understand what I mean. Convulsion for the corrosive, and then I think the last slot would be the tome that we had. So basically, this is the ideal armor strip Noctua build that you would mostly run. Instead, if you do not want to do that, go ahead and just run the basically the identical Grimoire build. So this would now be the main showcase of what Dante can actually do. So basically, you just want to build up energy for right now. You could just end up doing a light verse to get some overguard in, but just build up some energy real quick. Obviously, we want Dirga to shock them so that our energy can keep built back up. As you can see right now, with the Grimoires, Alt Fire, and Archon Stretch with Dirga, we are literally almost max energy. So now, we're going to end up roaring, and then we click 3, and then we end up just clicking 4 for final verse. One shot everything. So, the 3, which is Dark Verse, will end up slash procking everybody. You can honestly leave them alone. It's not like you have to kill them. Just 3, and then 4. Instantly, everybody is gone. So, as I said, I would not be explaining the abilities too much, but I can display what they do. So, light verse, and final verse, you get basically a crap ton amount of overguard. And then we do light verse and we do dark verse. We end up getting what is known as our Worm Warden, which is basically a book that is deployed around friendly and yourself's warframes so that it can deal damage. And then if we do dark verse, light verse, and then final verse, we'll be having a bird that comes out which helps make enemy vulnerable for status chance, which is called page flight. But mostly we will be using dark verse for the crazy amount of damage, since this is basically a nuke build. And then we'll 4.
Life support activated.
This is actually not good right now. Hold up, because I can't really display what Dante can do if I don't have energy right now. Alright, roar, dark verse, and then we will oh dear, goes down. Dark verse again, and then 4, armor completely stripped, and then 3 again. So
You are running out of time.
I'm not sure if I'm able to not one-shot him. I have not really worked with the build yet too much, but you do enough damage to the point where you can kill him pretty easily.
Capsule is now available.
With that being said, that would be the end of this video. This was just my take of a Dante build that I think can be really efficient for Endurance Still Path. Let me know in the comments what you would have done differently, and I will hope to see y'all in the next video.